just an innate ability to do the impossible consistently. You ask me kind of the impact. We just had a young man in our crew go from 120,000 to 1.2 million salary in 2 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
At 3 different times, I've been working with him intimately. Like, that's my dude. Okay. At 3 different times, he wanted to do the exact opposite of what he should do.
Right.
So at any one of those points, if he had went on his course of action, it would have derailed the success.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We just had a situation come up on Friday. He has somebody that is causing some problems, and he wanted to handle it. Go to HR. What? Go to HR. Okay, so we talked about it. Goes to HR. Boom, they give him a different solution. This is what they want. Okay, now let's have a conversation about real leadership. Okay, he's like, this is what he said to me. He said, "Golly, Jake," he said, "I'm dealing with real problems now." I said, "Hey, bud,
That's it.
you're getting paid $1.2 million and you're 25 years old. But here's the good thing: once you learn how to deal with these problems, when you start really growing,
Right.
it's not going to be problems anymore. You're going to understand that's the job of leadership."
Talking a little bit about the psychology of pressure causes some people to rise in the hard times versus what causes people to fold. The more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in combat. And let's be honest, for everybody in the audience, we're talking about battle, business, and life, right? It's the metaphors of all this. Because it's few and far between that you're gonna get into gunfights, and everyday life, it's filled with a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on there. Like I always talk about, the chaos is happening, but most people tend to avoid pressure. But Jake, you seem drawn to it. You really seem drawn to that. Why? Why is that?
So there's this big conundrum. I'm getting ready to talk to Green Beret dude David Walton about kind of dysfunctional childhoods leading to functional lives in dysfunction, right? And so there's a bunch of special forces dudes talking about it. I'm going to cut a video on it, but there's a bunch of dudes, special forces dudes talking about the more dysfunctional life you have as a kid, the more you relish in dysfunction and the more you thrive in it, right? Like you're able to thrive in dysfunction. And when things get copacetic and calm, you introduce something new to make sure that you stay in complete chaos because that's where that's your homeostatic state. Right? You don't like calm, easy go. You like absolutely insane. And so, like, as I looked at my life, right, I'm like, oh, man, things are going, man, we're killing it at the big blue company, right? All right, let's get a little more gas. Give it a little bit more gas. Let's get up to 140 employees. And then it broke.
Yeah.
Right?
When you say big blue company, you're talking about
the Blue
Amazon,
Devil,
right?
Yeah, I'm not going to say the name. The Blue Devil.
Okay, I can say the name.
We had 140 people. We kind of crashed a little bit. We didn't crash that hard, but we came down to 90.
Yeah.
And then we built it back up. But
though,
I was trying to grow a little too fast. And my girl Alexis, shout out to Alexis Thomas, man. She 21-year-old that I raised to run the company. She was running it. She kept MFing me every day, and then it broke. And I said, all right, never again. Right? Like, I won't do it again, but part of that is, you're going to grow. We're running a $9 million company. That shit, I tell everybody, it just is what it is.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on. A lot of money going back and forth. The one thing we never had to worry about was paying our people. I saved a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just think in business, people get in trouble with cash. And it's the same everywhere, right?
Amen.
Low cash equals problems. Why has Microsoft been able to murder so much? They just have reservoir cash. Google, same thing, right? They just have a reservoir. So when problems arise or something needs a solution, they're not short on having the resources to be able to solve that problem.
That's right. And so everybody out there, honestly, we talk about this a lot on regular lives on Friday and Sunday, but pay off those damn credit cards, keep a cash reserve. Dave Ramsey stuff. Dave Ramsey plus Bitcoin, plus houses, all that stuff. It's interesting, but some of the things you're saying, Jake, honestly, it's like revealing things to me about myself. And I didn't realize we're here to psychoanalyze. Another question, too, with this pressure. What goes through your mind the exact moment most people would quit? When you've seen others quitting, and granted, you have years of, maybe it's a preparation, I don't know what, but in those moments where you would see people quitting, you're like, no, and you know they could do more. But what's going through
Man.
your mind?
So I tell everybody, I focus on the little details. Okay. And then I tell everybody, you got to have just an innate ability to do the impossible consistently. Let me tell this great story. This phenomenal
Yeah, let's do it.
story.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I get to Illinois. My man, Bob Legashevsky's coaching tight ends. Okay. So I'm coaching the specialists, the punters, the kickers, the holders, long snappers. Okay. So I've been coaching a while. I know what you got to do. So boom, we do vision books. We build field boards. So like you can look at the field and you can see what your target is in every field in every stadium that we're going to play in, right? So we're doing all this stuff. My kicker is a 71% kicker, okay? I said, listen, man, I said, you're in contact with these 3 NFL kickers. We need to start getting you practicing like an NFL dude. Right now, you're practicing like a high school guy. He got mad. I said, you're 71%. You ain't going nowhere. You want to go to the league? Okay. You want to go to the league? He's like, I'll do anything. Okay. Then let's start fucking practicing like we want to go to the league.
Right.
So we call them every days, right? Like there's things you do every day as a kicker, a long snapper, or a punter that make you better. So in the kicking realm, touches are huge. So 200 touches, 300 touches a day. You're not kicking the ball hard. You got a good approach. You're kicking it softly. You're getting it to go straight up. Okay. So, all right. So he's doing 300 a day. Talks to some of the NFL guys. That's too much. He comes down. He finds a happy medium, 200 a day. Okay. So I got there in the summer. We finished that first season. We're kicking. We get to the off season. We really start hitting these every days, like all the time. Okay. So we talked about it, right? What's your rest day? Sunday, okay? Well, then you're kicking on Saturday. What's your long kick day? Tuesday, Thursdays, okay? Boom, boom, boom. Working all this stuff out, right? So, Thanksgiving, what happened? It wasn't Thanksgiving. What holiday was it? One of the holidays came up in like February. And I called him and said, hey, man, what you doing? He's like, oh, man, it fell on I want to say it was Tuesday. It was a long kick day. He's like, oh,
okay.
Man, he was back in Cyprus. Maybe it was spring break. Okay, spring break, whatever. I forget the exact timing, but it was a holiday. So I called him. He's like, oh man, I'm taking the day off. I said, oh really? I said, what day is it? He's like, it's Thursday. He says, it's a holiday, Jay. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Cool. I hung up the phone, bro. I didn't say nothing. Because I knew his mentality. So he called me back that night. He's like, I had my dad parked the truck at the field. I got my long kicks in. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. All right, cool. So then he comes into camp. Now, I can't make this up. You can't make it up, okay? Comes into camp. Through 11 practices, how many kicks did he miss?
None.
What?
I was just guessing.
11 practices, no missed kicks. From 71% in the fall to 100% through 11 practices.
Automatic.
Now here's where it's going to get good.
Yeah.
Here's where it's going to get good. I knew he had stopped doing his every days when we started spring practice. Because I put a camera, we had a camera in the indoor, and I had my camera dude just say, hey, man, tell me if you see my guy in there. And I'm going to tell you who this is because it's going to come for a circle.
Okay.
And so I had to let him fail. Okay. 5 practices. He got 11 no miss kicks. After 5 more practices, we only did 4 more practices. 4 more practices. What was his percentage kicking after 4 more practices, having stopped his every days 3 weeks before, a month before? 71%. On the nose. On the nose. He couldn't make a kick the last 4 practices.
So he went back to what?
You go right back to where you were. Okay.
Wow.
So when we got done with the spring,
man, that is powerful.
Powerful, right? We got done with the spring. I said, hey, man, listen, I let you fail in the spring so you don't fail in the season. I said, I'm going to tell you this. You can never let this happen again.
Wow.
You are not ever better. You are consistently pushing your level higher.
Yes.
Or you will go right back to who you are, which is 71%.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
So fast forward.
Yeah.
The next season, I got a savage now. He understands the game. I called him a couple times. Called him on 4th of July. He's like, ha ha, I knew you were going to call. I already did my kicking. Ha ha. Yeah, I'm on the boat drinking beers now, but I kicked this morning. Ha ha. Like, okay, we're good, right?
He gets it. Now he gets it.
Yep,
Yeah.
got it. Senior year, he won. He had the most 50-yard plus field goals. He had like 7 of them.
Wow.
He was some award for the best kicker in the Big Ten.
Okay. Oh,
He went
God.
undrafted.
This is big time football. Just so everyone understands.
Hang on, bro. I ain't told you who he is yet.
All right, tell me.
Okay, so we don't get drafted. We had a 5-year plan to stick in the NFL because the kickers, they get shots now.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chase McLaughlin, the current kicker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is the young individual we're talking about.
Wow.
Was on 9 teams his first season. He missed the kick in like the playoffs for the 49ers in the playoffs. He missed the kick. He got cut. Okay. And now he's been at Tampa Bay for 4 years. He just signed a 3-year deal with Tampa Bay.
Holy cow.
So that's what I'm talking about. That's the difference between Booba the Fool coaching you and me coaching you.
That's
right?
That's it.
And he ain't the only one. Like the safety Kirby Joseph at Detroit, one of my kids, right? But they were bouncing him around between wide receiver and safety, and he was kind of doing his work, and he wasn't really doing his work.
Yeah.
And, dialed in. I'm not going to take full credit for that one, but I know this. He ain't quit and leave, right? Nate Hobbs, same kind of deal, right? Nate Hobbs, Devin Witherspoon's the exception to that. Devin Witherspoon was a dog when he showed up.
Wow. Wow.
And so people ask me, I said, that's the difference between Rudy Poot coaching and elite level, like change your life coaching. Like I changed that young man's life. And he had, I heard me say he had to work. He wanted to do the work. He did the work.
Yeah.
He got good enough, and now he's been in the league, and he's killing it. He's doing, they asked him to get his leg strength up, and he fucking squatted his ass off, got his leg strength up, and been in the league for 5 years now.
Wow. Yeah, man. That's a powerful story too. But
right? Like you've got to have that belief. I'm gonna find a way to win, man. Like I tell everybody, like that's the root cause mantra. Like I'm gonna find a way to win, right? Like 10 o'clock at night, the Blue Devil has tasked me with 10 extra routes. We only have 55 vans, and they gave us 65 routes. And
that's nuts, man.
We're driving vans all night. Like I got back, we only got 7. We brought back 7 vans, 8 in the morning. They left on routes at 9, and I said, whew, right?
That's crazy.
In business, you're gonna have stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I tell everybody, I put 10 people on the airplane. Day 3 of the company, I put 10 people on the airplane to El Paso, and they drove 10 vans back because we went from 6 routes on day 1 to 17 routes on day 2 to 27 routes on day 3.
Right. Wow.
And you're supposed to be running 5 routes for 3 weeks, 10 routes for 3 weeks. We were at 42 routes in like a week.
It's almost exponential growth, in the routes. But, you mentioned something earlier when you said, the inflection point or the point in your mind. And I want to stress the importance of self-talk. We talk a lot about these things because again, and the person on the channel here is, I want to give people the things to actually do that will make them better in life, that will make them, have a better life. And so like you went in your car, you cried out, then you started laughing. You said, at a really hard point, and you said, we always win. We always find a win. Yep. Money comes to me. These mantras, is self-talk something? Is it just like naturally savage you do it, or is it like you programmed your mind?
Nope. I learned it. Like I learned it at wrestling camp at 7th grade.
Okay.
I learned goal setting from Kenny Monday. So Kenny Monday had this little week-long camp. I learned goal setting at Washington State, and then I learned self-talk from Kenny Monday because he was talking about going to win Olympic gold medal, self-talk, how important self-talk is, like how much you can build your own belief in self through self-talk. Right. And I will say this, man, everything changed when you look in the house and you got 3 kids and a wife and you're responsible for their outcome. Yep. Right. And like pressure on me is easy, right? Me against the world, easy. But when you look and you're like, ooh, now I'm responsible for all 3 of these dudes' success and my wife's success, right? It changes that pressure paradigm. And I mean, I'll be honest with you. I got out because my wife said it's time to get out of coaching. Yep. Right? Yep. Best decision I've ever made. Best decision. I talked to Jake Ganos. Do you remember Jake Ganos, the D-line
sure
coach?
Yeah, I remember
So
him.
Jake has 3 boys. And
Okay.
and I would talk to him every now and then because I respected him as a coach. And I would say, hey, Jake, he's like, you'll understand when your kids get a little bit older.
Interesting.
And now that I walked away my oldest kid was 5 when I got out of coaching. 3rd grade. So he was 9. Okay. And best decision I could have ever made. Best decision.
Right.
Right. And I look back, and it's not something I hold against my wife. My wife asked me to get out. She says, time to get out. She kind of just put her foot down and says, time to get out. And I said, okay. I went and got this business from the Blue Devil. We killed it, right? Changed our whole life for 2 years. And now we got resources, and we're going to go buy another company, And the good thing about the next company, the people you're working for ain't trying to work against you. But I want to buy a commercial electrical company because I just think that there's going to be a shortage of electricians. That's where the way of the future is going to be able to go. Now, at some point in the next 20 years, I imagine robots are going to take over. But in the next 20 years, I'm going to make so much money that I don't really give a damn.
That's the way to do it. Buying the electrical company, powerful moments. We've talked about some of the, the hardship and the resilience and you going through things and, periods where you've had, turning points in your life. But was there ever would you say something that was the most painful chapter of your life that shaped you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
what would you say?
So the last, call it 12 months of the SEAL, really the last 18 months of the SEAL teams was just horrendous. Okay. So first of all, I was the only black officer on the East Coast. There was a lot of racial stuff going on. But I was doing good with that, right? I was doing good. I had only beat up 4 or 5 people. I was moderately, I was doing okay. But I wasn't internalizing it. I was handling it okay. And then this crazy situation happened on the West Coast with a guy named Clay Tippins, who ran for governor of Georgia, who is a white knight. Mom's a senator. He went to Stanford. And he threw me under the bus, basically. He wrote this big racial grievance. Something had happened to him on the range with a black FBI officer in his platoon. And he wrote this huge racial grievance, and he put my name on every page. And so he had been keeping a journal of SEAL training, everything that had happened to me that was a little bit off, which pretty much was something every day. And so he wrote a grievance about something that happened with him and his platoon at the range, but he cited me on 90 of the 100 pages that he turned in.
What?
So my command buried me. Buried me. I was a number 2 officer at SEAL Team 8 for the first 2 years. And I was supposed to go on a Yukon platoon, right? They were getting kinetic action then during Kosovo,
Yeah.
And so
SEAL War in the Balkans, I remember.
Yeah, I didn't get to go, man. And so next thing I know, I didn't get to go to free fall. I didn't go to Ranger school. He pulled everything from me and told me if this ever happens again, I told him, I said, I almost beat him up, man. I was screaming at him. The XO had to come get me. I was like, you motherfucker. I didn't do this. Then I went and got a bunch of witnesses from my class, and he just wasn't hearing it, man. It's that prison mentality. You never snitch, And I said, I didn't do this. And so that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And then they put me in a platoon with a classmate of mine named Keith Burney, who was the biggest tool bag in the history of mankind. Easily the worst leader I've ever been around, lied all the time, blamed everybody else. So I missed an opportunity to bash his face in the first land warfare phase. And I think I probably should have just bashed his face in and caused them to take me out of the platoon. That probably would have been the best outcome. But the thing that I come back to, I didn't have any mentorship. And so there came a point when I wanted to go get Admiral Winters, who was the commander of SEAL Team 4 at the time, Dev Group dude, savage, Michigan wrestler, animal, okay? Wow. And I don't know if it was the courage, I don't know what it was, maybe not quite understanding the importance of mentorship. Up until that point, I had some good mentors, but I didn't understand how pivotal having the right mentor was, right?
Right.
I was 29. I didn't think I had all the answers, but it wasn't like I was running, it wasn't good. So anyway, I didn't go see him. And if you ask me why did I, have a tumultuous time in the teams, I tell everybody, I'm like, I didn't go get mentorship. Fast forward, I ended up getting fired as the AOIC of the platoon. I was depressed. It was stupid, right? Like
Yeah.
I had internalized everything that happened, even though I knew none of it had to do with me.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
None of it. He had been
Right.
fired 3 times at SDV Team 1.
Oh my
We didn't
God.
have a war going on. And so, like, this was they tried to keep officers that wanted to stay. It didn't matter how bad they were.
And so, the platoon commander had been fired before at STV1.
Yeah, 3 times. 3 times he'd been fired.
How can they put him in command again?
No, that's how the SEAL teams were back then, right?
Crazy,
Pre-war.
man.
That's why they got rid of 50% of the officer corps when the war started.
Wow.
They were firing people so fast when the war started, like as they should have been, right?
Yeah.
Like you had a bunch of sherms in there. So anyway, I got fired, and then unfortunately, I had sold my house in December, so I didn't come back to a nice environment. I was couch surfing in Virginia Beach for like a couple months, and then I got out of the Navy in May. And I went home to Washington State. I cheered up a little bit. I got an awesome girlfriend. Kicked it all summer with her, and then I went to Michigan for business school. But my roommate, who I went to Naval Academy with, Brian King, rock star dude, said it took me like a solid year at business school before I came back, right? Like I was solidly messed up. Right. You know about the 9/11 decision. I decided not to go back in. I just couldn't trust everybody.
Right.
That's my biggest regret in life. I do everything that I do from a mentorship standpoint now because of that 18-month or really 12-month period in my life.
Yeah.
Where, so I tell everybody, this is what I want you to think about. If I had walked over to Admiral Winters would have done 2 things. What's the problem? Then he would have called over to my command and figured out the problem and been like, all right, Jake, Keith Burney sucks. Okay, we know he sucks. We're going to learn how to deal with it. He would have gave me 3 or 4 tools. Okay.
Right.
Or he might have said, listen, next time that motherfucker lies, I want you to beat the living shit out of him.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then, but here's the deal. I got an 05 dev group dude, grew up in dev group, prior enlisted dude. Okay. That now is talking to my CEO from a different standpoint about what's happening in my career.
Right.
Okay? So we call it Overwatch, right?
Yeah.
No longer is it an 03 saying, hey, man, this is fucking crazy. This dude is lying. Like, it's an 05 saying, hey, man, Jake's my guy. What's the problem?
I've known him. Yeah, I know his character.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so now I go back over to Admiral Winters, and he's slapping the shit out of me, right? Like, hey, we got to fix this. You're messing up. Yeah. Okay, cool. I got to mess up. I'm fixing it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the biggest things in mentorship that I tell people. Admiral Winters' perspective and pull are on a different level than 03 Jake Zweig. And he's able to come over here and manipulate how I'm viewed down here because people are like, oh, he's a fucking Admiral Winters guys or he's Commander Winters guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
why do you think so many people don't get mentorship? And I'll say another thing too, on top of that, closely connected, so many people don't get coaching. And they don't realize how, I'm a coach, you're a coach, but how, and I've gotten coaching and it catapults you, man. One of the biggest mistakes I think I made was in a hard time when I was a battalion commander. I didn't, and you need it ahead of time. You need to set it up ahead of time, not in the crisis, but I was going through a tough time in supply and logistics. And, I was good at going down range and doing direct action, doing raids and all that. I didn't know supply chain that well. And it was something where I wish I had that mentor in place. And it can't be always your direct commander because they're in the fight with you and they're busy and on fire and they're pressurized. It's got to be someone that's an objective view, a coach or a mentor that can tell you, dude, turn this dial, flick that switch, make this happen. Next thing you know, the magic happens. But why don't people go set themselves up for success with the mentorship?
So here's what I'm going to say. I think it takes a lot of gumption to ask for a mentor, and you got to be humble. Yeah. And a lot of people get ahead of their skis basing their success in life on their success.
On themselves.
Like, I'm successful because I did it. Right. I grew up in a Jewish household. I told my wife was talking to me about this yesterday. We have a young person in our stead right now, and she's stubborn as shit, right? And she's telling me in Hosky, North Carolina, that's how they grew up. They didn't grow up with the Jewish adage that, look, you tell everybody your problem, someone's going to have the solution, right? Tell the whole Jewish community, hey, man, I got a problem. Someone's going to have the solution. So here's what I say.
Interesting. That is it. That's his job.
So why don't people ask for mentorship? I tell everybody because nobody in their family taught them. Like I got lucky. My grandfather was like, hey, I'm going to go get this 4-star admiral and this 2-star general to write you letters of recommendation. We're going to get in the Naval Academy. I understood. Like I tell everybody, I would have never went to the Naval Academy if I would have got mentorship in high school because I had 200 West Point graduates in my town.
Right.
I didn't talk to any of them about the difference between West Point and a Naval Academy.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah, interesting. I mean,
yeah. But now,
interesting.
Like to your point, Ben,
yeah.
So we have on the 03 line, we have 4 Navy captains. 4. And 2 captains in the airlines right now. Okay. So out of 7 people, we got 6 captains. 3 of the captains, maybe 4, might make admiral. So you think about that. So to your point, though, I raised each one of those dudes, Ben, a mentor 5 years ahead of me, 10 years ahead of me, 20 years ahead of me, and all 6, 7 of them dudes, because Omega Psi Phi are African Americans. I want all 3 of those mentors to be white. Okay?
I see what you're saying.
I don't. You can have, but I want them to be good people, and then they got to be willing to mentor. Because a lot of times you'll ask people to mentor, and they won't mentor you, right? Or they won't give you the time that you need to be successful.
And it's funny you say that because I find the difference between a mentor and a coach, and I tell this to people: a coach is a professional in the industry. That a mentor does it on their time when they can. It's not always reliable, it's not repeatable and sustainable. But when you hire a coach and you work with a coach, and you give them permission to get into you, stand by for change, stand by for transformation. So
and
it takes humility, like you said.
I got a young rock star right now, Ben. And I'm when I say rock star, I mean rock star, okay? 23, got named as a CTO of a company.
Nice.
She's 23, everybody else is 50.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
We've already had, so she went and hired a business coach. I said, how often are you meeting with him? She's like, once a month. I said, what? I said, first of all, you in our family. Okay, you've been in the family for 5 or 6 years now. Fire that dude and hire me, okay? And we're going to meet 3 times a week, and anytime you have a situation come up. She just had a situation come up on Friday. I didn't really have the solution, so I called my guy Travis Lively, who lives in corporate America, and he had a different take, and we got her teed up. She went to work, fucking killing it. Right? Like, to your point, right? Like, I do a lot of both. I don't really like to get money because then I can't call in favors later. But in this situation, she's fucking at the top of the pay scale. She's like, look, I'll pay you. I'm like, cool. Like, we're going to win. Right?
Right, exactly.
So she's setting up her meetings on Sunday. I said, what's your 1 month plan? She said, I don't have 1 month. What's your 6 month plan? I don't have 6. What's your 1 year plan? I don't have one.
Yeah, you got to have these things.
I said, you're the CTO of the company. You don't have a plan?
Right. Exactly.
I said, what is, right? Like, but we are, like, we're, like, I tell everybody, if you want to be executive coach, hire Ben, right? Like,
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
We operating at a different level. And then you bring in the standards and the resiliency and everything we're talking about.
For sure.
Like, bro, I don't care about Sundays. We're talking on Sundays, right? Like, I don't care. Like, I have a saying. I say, winning does not care what day of the week it is. Okay.
Amen to that.
It don't care if it's Christmas, your birthday. It don't care if it's.
And so everybody in the audience, you understand that, when we say there's no days off, this is really it. No days that are, that you're supposed to be working and training. No days off. I mean, as an entrepreneur, it's day on, stay on every day, and people don't want that. Yeah,
all night,
all day. Whatever it takes. And I think, same thing in elite athletics. A lot of times people will say, oh, well, they're very gifted and talented. Yes, they are. And so is everybody else in the whole league and in the whole college football. So, I mean, we go back to the Tom Brady story, right? Clearly he's got some exceptional arm talent, but, not the most arm talent, not the most anything. It was his ferocity and preparation. He had enough to get in the door, and that was about it. Everything else was on him and his work ethic,
Absolutely.
But, as we talk about this now, we're drifting into the leadership areas. We're coaching and leadership and, talking about leadership without a margin for error, which seems almost fantastical. Like, it's almost like unbelievable to say it that way. But, and I'll ask you this way, what did the SEAL teams teach you about leadership? But then also, because you've done so many more things, like, and I want to make sure people understand that too. That's the purpose, right? Is that you're a man who has experienced success in so many different areas and has fought through adversity in so many ways. But what did the SEAL teams teach you about leadership? And then, in coaching and in business, but what have you learned through these experiences about leadership that you couldn't have learned anywhere else,
Okay, so let me step back a little bit, Ben, because I will argue that I learned more about leadership on my ship than I did in the SEAL teams.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Easily.
Okay.
And so I got to the ship, I was yelling and shit, let's go. And none of it was working, right? And so I was working 18-hour days because I got my SWOP in 6 months. And I went to the Chiefs mess, right? I rolled into the Chiefs mess, knocked on the door, Chiefs mess, request permission to come aboard, and answer Zweig. Hey, man, I need some help. I'm fucking this leadership shit up. They're like, Jake, stop yelling, bro. Listen, your chief is a drunk. Fire him. Put somebody in charge in your division that you like, that you think will do a good job leading. You can't lead your division. You're an ensign. Okay. Went down, fired my chief, fired my E6, put an E5 in charge. The next day, everything was 1,000 times better.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, that fast? Okay. Then a month after that, I got this E6 BM1 Fabian, probably one of the best dudes I've ever worked with. Okay. Was an enlisted E6 dive officer on a submarine. Okay. So if you're not familiar with the ranks, E6s don't get dive officer on a submarine. Dude was brilliant. He had 4 kids. He got a divorce. His wife was pinching him. He wrote some bad checks. He lost his clearance, so now he's a bosa mate for me.
Wow.
I put that dude
real quick. I'm sorry, but the guys in the submarine force, the enlisted, the officers, these dudes, all of them are so smart. Electrical engineering,
smart,
it's next level.
Brilliant.
Man. It's insane. Yeah. Okay,
so the biggest lesson I learned was you don't ever drive the bus as the leader. Right? Like whoever's running the day-to-day action is driving the bus, and that's the most important person. Right. And so BM1 Fabian came in and my dude Denton had to get lowered down a little bit. Like he went back to being an E5, but BM1 Fabian still let him run his own team, right? Like he still had his own crew. And so we won division in a spot like 7 quarters in a row. Wow. Right? That's number huge. 1 division on the ship. Like it wasn't even close. I didn't do anything. So during that time, BM1 Fabian became officer of the deck as an E6 and then became a SWO. Okay. Right. Was making runs to Baltimore as a tug captain on the weekends. So he'd come to work late Monday sometimes, but we knew, and was building decks. He's just a hustler, man. Just a great dude. Wow. And so he ended up winning the Surfland Sailor of the Year. Wow. He works for me. I got all the shine. They're like, oh my God, Jake. I'm like, look, I just let the dude do what he do, Yeah. And so that was like one of the biggest things I learned, man, pick the right dude to run everything. Always. Yeah. And if the dude isn't quite there, but they're the right dude, then grow them the way you want them to grow. Right? Other example I'm going to give you, Alexis Thomas, man. 21-year-old, 21-year-old kid, 4.0 student in college, killer. Was hanging out with somebody that she liked a lot. They were doing a bunch of bad stuff. She doing bad stuff. She came to work drunk one day. I said, hey, bud, you're running a $4 million company right now. We had some behavioral things, but she's 21. Yeah. She don't know no different. Right. She was the right person. I probably gave her 2,000 hours in about a year. Right. Wow. We walked around the building. It was a mile lap. We walked around the building 3-4 miles a day talking. Okay. Here's how you did it. Okay. Listen, you can't wear biker shorts and a sports bra to work. I know we in this athletic game of delivering packages, but it doesn't look good. Okay, cool. Boom. Right. But the bottom line is now I could buy anything I want. Like she'll be running the next company I buy.
Sure. You pressure tested her. You pressure tested
her. So when you ask me about leadership, in the SWO community, we had a couple near-death experiences. My chief almost lost his arm. I watched a lady, get her leg ripped off. We had some bad things. And so I knew that there was real-life consequences for failure. Okay?
Right.
We almost crashed the ship. Literally, I was off the deck. Captain did some crazy shit. We almost collided with the frigate. Okay?
Yeah.
My ship had a helicopter crash 6 months or a year before I got there that killed like 5 people on the flight deck. And so I learned hey man, there's consequences for failure. We were in the Persian Gulf. We had a so-called missile shot at us, and I was the officer of the deck. I did the best I could do, but I'm in an oiler. We ain't avoiding nothing.
That's scary stuff.
When I got to the SEAL teams, the thing that I learned that was different, the SEAL teams, in my opinion, was the easiest leadership experience because everybody is such a hard charger. Okay?
Right.
Everybody is so motivated to stay there and be great that you don't have motivation problems like you have in the regular Navy, right? Like you had when you were a platoon commander, right? You have motivational problems. You don't have those in the SEAL teams, right? You got keeping guys out of trouble problems, okay?
Yeah.
And then you have guys that are unmotivated because they're not being challenged enough. And so, I didn't think it was that bad. Now, the one thing is, having been in gunfights and being shot in high school, I had a different perspective of what was acceptable and what was not acceptable.
Right.
Right. And I almost drowned on my first day in the SEAL teams. They threw me out of a plane on my very first day, like 6 hours in the SEAL teams with no training. And I learned very quickly, left to your own devices in the SEAL teams, they will let you kill yourself quickly. Raise your hand if you are not ready to do this. Not ready to do this, okay?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Right.
Yeah, because they will let you kill yourself. And I had a guy, I was in training for the first year, a dude, maybe at the team 3 months, burned in on a skydive. Like he was trying to get his skydiving license, did a low angle hook turn at like 400 feet, broke his whole back, was out of the teams, had my dude, Chad Burkhart, fall out of a helicopter and die. Everybody would laugh at me because I had a lanyard. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, I'm not falling out the helicopter.
Which, by the way, that's the standard now. That's SOP to have your little tie-in lanyard. Open doors are open. You have to have one.
Now,
that's much that's happened.
You rode 46s, right? You rode CH 46s.
No, this is for Blackhawk when the doors are open.
I'm saying for you, like in the beginning, did you ride any 46s?
Yeah, a bunch. Oh yeah.
Okay,
a bunch.
so 46s transmissions go out every day. So there was a dude in my SEAL team that had survived 5 helicopter crashes, sole survivor 3 times. Okay?
What? No. That's crazy.
I'll tell you the story. This story's crazy. I'm a new dude. We're going jumping down at Fentress. So there's 4 46s lined up. Doo-doo, bebopping. I see everybody else going to these 2 46s, and this one dude walking to this 46.
Nobody wants to get in with him.
I said, oh, so I turned to walk that way. Master Chief grabs me. No, Joe rides by himself. I'm like, what are you talking about, Master Chief? I'll ride with him. No, you won't. I said, what's going on? He's like, look, I'll tell you later.
Superstition, huge.
Dude, he had his own helicopter anywhere he went. I swear to God, no one would ride with him. I don't no one would ride with him. And so
that's crazy.
So I had a pony bottle. I sewed a pony bottle into the bottom of my 3-day bag, and I had a regulator that came over right here.
Yeah.
And everybody would laugh at me. And I said, hey, just know this. I might let you get 1 or 2 breaths, but I'm out of here.
Yeah,
now, if you want to, it cost me $110 to build. The tank was like $80. I went to diving, and they gave me a regulator, a single hose regulator. I'm like, bro, like for $80, you can have 20 minutes of air.
But and I want to say this. I want to comment on this for everybody in the audience too. So as Jake is walking through these things, what I'm noticing, like for me, because we've walked similar ground, right? We've been in similar situations. Is someone that makes decisions and he doesn't care what people think, right? He has moral courage. Like when they said, okay, the first advice, and everybody might have just brushed by this fact. He said when he went to Chief's mess and they said, fire your chief, get somebody else. Jake went down and fired his chief and fired the next person in charge. I want you to take a look at yourself in the mirror or ask yourself, would you have the moral courage to go right down there, you know what's wrong, and to get it done? A lot of people hear that. They go, yeah, okay, and they drag their feet. They don't fire them. I had a client once, same thing. Dragged their feet for over a year, to fire somebody that was stealing from them, all these things. This is a big corporation.
Yep.
And they finally did it, and the whole business turned around. But Jake went down there, moral courage, direct action, boom. The next thing, he sees something wrong. There's a problem. He sees it. He fixes it. He sews the bottle in there. You know, he stands up and says, not ready for this. What I'm saying to you guys is learn this lesson right here. One of the secrets of his success that I'm seeing is that he knows what needs to be done, and the do-say gap is like this. Closes it instantly. That's a huge difference. Most people, they see what needs to be done, and they're over here, and they're like, well, I'll try to get there. I'll go, and they never get there. But, Jake, you go right there. Like, what is that about you that where you just are like, boom, I got to do it?
So right back to wrestling, right?
Okay.
I'm going to give you a prime example. I've been trying to buy a business for 2 years. Okay. Yeah. I just joined this SMB Pro Deal Hunter business buying platform.
Awesome.
And literally have done more in the 3 months that I've been in, 2.5 months, than I did in the previous 2 years.
Yeah.
Because it taught me how to do it, showed me, like I've been through, I think it's 180 classes that I went through. Okay. But it comes back to, are you getting it done? No.
Yeah.
Then you better do something totally different, because that middle ground is insanity, right? Like, I hate to beat it up, but like you do the same thing over and over, you get the same result, but you want to keep doing the same thing and get a different result is insanity.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it just comes back to like, but here's the other thing, Ben. I grew up in a special operations household. My dad is a savage, and he was a survivalist. And like we spent months in the woods, okay? Months in a boat. I knew if you don't solve problems, like I got another story for you, okay? So we're running trap lines in the marsh at DuPont. Huge marsh, probably maybe a 2-mile square marsh, massive marsh. And we're trapping beavers, boom. So my dad has chest waders. And if you know anything about chest waders, if you flood chest waders, you're dead. You can't get them off. You're dead.
Ooh,
okay?
Wow. Okay.
So he's got chest waders, and normally he's got about, like waist-high water. Okay? So we're out there, we're pulling traps. It's the winter, it's raining, it's miserable, Washington State. We got like 4 beavers in the boat. Okay? So I'm in a canoe. I'm probably third grade, maybe third grade. I'm little dude. I'm in the boat, and I got I forget what it's called. The beavers put out this stuff in their butts, and we have it in a jar, and you stick it on a stick, and you do the trap, right? Okay. So I'm the stick man, right? I get a stick. I got a bunch of little sticks, and I jam it in there, and I give it to my dad. He sticks it in the trap, right? So
okay.
We're on our way back, and literally we are 10 feet from the shore, right? Right. And there's a fence. We're on Fort Lewis, so there's one of those, just picture a chain link fence that runs into the water and disappears. So that's where we had put the boat in there an hour and a half before when we went in the swamp. So my dad's pulling me along. We're 10 feet away. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to get in the hot truck, I got to skin some beavers. Boom. He's gone. Gone. I'm like, oh my God.
What happened?
I remember this like yesterday. I'm looking around. I'm like, what? For a solid 10 seconds, Ben.
Your dad's gone.
Gone. Nothing.
And you're still in the boat. You're in the water.
I'm in the boat. I'm in the canoe. I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out in my head. I'm young. I can't rationalize what happened. I don't know where he went. And everything that I'm thinking about doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I literally did like this, and I came back, and he is gone. And
go ahead.
We're 10 feet from the edge.
Right.
And I'm like, time's ticking.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in the boat. I'm looking. You're a kid, bro. Like, you're looking. I'm like, what?
What?
All of a sudden, a hand comes out of the water and grabs the chain link fence. Okay? And another hand comes out and grabs the chain link fence, and then I see him go hand over hand. And then he's able to get his head. I see the top of his head just crown the water, and he's able to pull himself up and get a breath.
Because the
solid
waders,
minute.
He had the waders?
He fell in a hole. There was a big-ass hole right by the end of the fence. and he fell in it.
And he had the
And
waders
he
on
had
too,
to,
right?
he had hip waders on. He had to climb up if the fence wasn't there, he'd have been dead. Would have been dead.
What?
So he climbed up and he laid down on the hill. All the water ran out. He pulled his waders down. He was frozen. And we got in the truck and he said to me, he said, listen, son, he's like, there's times in life when you have to save yourself.
Wow.
He said, when you're fighting Mother Nature, there is no win or lose.
Yeah.
You either live or die. And that never left me. Like, I was like, you know, you're third grade getting a real life lesson in life and death.
Yeah, for sure,
You know?
man. Wow, that's it. That really made an impact on you, you know? I mean, that's what we're talking about right here. Unbelievable. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I said it's like, you know, you're in nature. I talked about, you know, human will against you, but then against nature, you're right. There's no win or lose, just survive. Because you're in this environment that's going to kill you. Holy crap, man.
And so, and it was interesting because I'll tell you this: we never went back in that swamp with chest waders on. He'd be in the boat with me. We set all the traps on the boat. Like, we had this little pole thing that we will put down to kind of balance the boat so you could lean over and set traps.
Yeah.
But he was like, won't make that mistake again.
Wow. You know? Wow. I mean, and out of all this stuff, like what would you say, like some of the, like, okay, so getting back into like the leadership principles and deriving and taking these lessons and these things, those formative, powerful, traumatic for sure, left an imprint on you, but you know, in a good way. And we throw the word trauma around a lot, but you know, that's an extreme lesson. What would you say some of these things have translated really well into the business world?
So in the business world, I mean, it's direct translation, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
So I got the
100%.
25-50 rule, right?
Okay.
If my idea isn't 50% better than yours, or your idea has a 25% catastrophic failure outcome, then I let you do what you want to do, right? Because you're going to do your project better than you'll do mine. You're going to do your idea. You're going to be more vested in your own idea, right? And then I just got to make sure it's not catastrophic, right? Is it a bad idea? You trying to go do something bad, or is it going to blow us up, right? Like no different than my young man having to go talk to HR. You're putting the company at risk of millions of dollars of liability if you handle this the wrong way, right? That's catastrophic. So we won't be going to talk to the person first before we talk to HR, right?
Right. Very true. Very true. And so really, like, you know, in that last story you gave too, and how that translates perfectly too, is it's no one's coming to save you either, you know?
No.
Man. And I love that 25-50. I love that idea. You know, that's a real bit of wisdom right there. I don't know if I've ever heard it put that way. I've heard something similar, but that's pretty awesome.
You know, because a lot of times young leaders want this. So another story, because this is phenomenal. Okay, said individual has this idea. Okay, and I can't talk about it too much because there's some confidential stuff in there. Has an idea. Okay, he goes to his boss. We work on the presentation. Okay, he's an engineer. The presentation was terrible. Cut it down to 3 slides. Here's what I want to do. Here's why. Here's the outcome. They loved it. Okay, They gave him 20 engineers to build his idea. Okay, calls me on the phone. I'm going to build my idea. How many engineers do you have? 20. How about you let them all come up with their idea and you test them and you pick the best one? Young leader, right? He was 23 at the time. I want the win. Who's in charge of the 20 engineers? I am. Who gets the win? I do. Okay? Humble yourself and win.
That's right.
All right?
That's right.
So,
because at one point, people have to learn that in leadership. It's about, you know, being a leader is, can you manage the team? Can you lead the team? Yep. The results that come out from the team. This is in a platoon, this is your weapon. The platoon is your weapon, right? So everything that's done is on you, or everything that's failed to be done. So I love that. That's great.
So he puts it to the team. 11 people builds things. One dude's was 29% more effective. They went with that. How do I sell this? Easy. put up the old thing, put up the new thing, show them the difference in real time on a screen behind them. They were like, oh my God. Saved his company $4 billion a year.
What? Holy crap.
23 years old. What comes 2 weeks after that, Ben? What comes 2 weeks after that? You tell me what comes.
Probably the promotion to get millions of dollars or something.
Nah, not yet. So he went from 415 to 675 in 2 weeks on that project.
Of course he did.
And this is what they said. They said, man, we're promoting you because you are incredibly humble in this whole process. And you just saved us $4 billion.
Wow. Wow. Incredible. Great story, man. Great story.
So like real leadership, right?
Yeah,
like
you can get a lot done when you don't care who takes credit, right?
You can get the most done, right? You maximize. Amen. And then what you do is you set a precedence, man. Everybody knows like, oh man, the next time you propose something, like everybody's fighting to get the 29%, right? Be the 29% dude, get their idea.
That's right. That's right.
Know?
It's almost like the X Prize. Reminds me of Peter Diamandis, the big entrepreneur who does all the tech stuff. He's good friends with Elon Musk. He started the X Prize, and what he does is he takes something like curing cancer. I don't think they've fully done that one yet, but like space travel, all these different things like that. Mining asteroids, robotics, and they come up with a prize of like $10 million, and the teams all around the world get a $10 million prize. I think the prize is up to like $100 million now. Elon Musk backs it, Richard Branson, all these people. Yeah. And so it's exactly what you're talking about. And you get the most out of when you make it competitive, you make it capitalistic, you put money behind it, and, people will come out of the woodworks to win the competition. And in the meantime, all boats rise, right? With the rising tide from the new invention. So incredible. I love that. It's a great story. Great story. Yeah. And to your point on this as well, too, a leader has to be able to build trust. And so what do you think is the way you build trust quickly when the stakes are high like that? And the margin for error is really zero.
So you know me and I'm quirky, right? I don't ever hide who I am.
Right,
okay?
100%.
I tell everybody the first thing we do is take everybody to eat. Okay, whether that's in small groups, big groups, like I'm gonna sit down and break bread with everybody. My management team, we went to Bill Miller's once or twice a week, like all 10 of 11 of us for an hour. We just sit down. Most of the time, you just have common conversations, but every now and then you'd have a real conversation or you'd hear something, and but it's just a way to build trust. I tell everybody the quickest way to lose trust is how you build trust. Be dishonest, be disingenuous, and not care for your people, right?
Right.
I tell everybody, you learn this early on, your people always know the truth. Yep, so whether you choose to tell them the truth or you try to fabricate something or lie, they always know the truth.
That's so true. It is so true. It always comes out. It always comes out. They all know.
And if you try to bullshit them one time, you're done, and you're better off saying, I don't know, I'll find out, or tell them the truth. And like, I just always use the truth. I also have a saying in my company, we're always going to do what's best for the employee, right? And sometimes that's going to hurt the company. Like my number one driver was a rock star. I was paying him $22 an hour. This young man had so much more capabilities than what I was using him for. So I got him a job with a plumbing company. One of my dudes got a big plumbing company. He's now a journeyman plumber. After 2 years, 3 years, he's killing it. He's making $36 an hour now, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, sometimes I'm going to have to lose to get better, but you know what it did? Everybody in my company was like, oh my God, Jake helped him. We sent him out the door. His last day driving, we gave him $500 in tools. And everybody in the company was like, oh my God.
And they see that. You keep your word. You're getting back to them. You're rewarding good behavior, rewarding people who, push the mission, who are, a good part of the culture. I mean, I think, that's so powerful. That's really
But it's
powerful,
hard,
man.
Right? Like you get a lot of business people that say business is about making money. I'm going to argue business is about having a good business.
100%. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. It's interesting because last week we talked about hypocrisy being the number one way to get crushed as a leader. If you're a hypocrite, like you said, the truth's going to come out. They're going to know. Yeah. They're going to know what you're up to and what you're all about, what your intentions are. And if you're all about you and selfish, you know, you're not going to build a good business.
People thought I was crazy when I didn't pay myself the first year. Right? I'm just like, hey man, there's a standard to be set. I don't know what's a good standard that I can pay myself, right? Now I started paying myself the second year, but you know, like I tell everybody, like money, like, yeah, everybody's like, oh, business, you know, like Jeff Bezos, this whole thing is you build a business to make money. Okay. Well, that's why he has a really, really bad culture in this company.
Right.
You know, now he hit the lottery, he picked it, everything fell out right. He's doing, you know, the business is, but like, if you ask me, and I'll stand on it, like the Blue Devil is going to go the way of Enron because it's not a good company. And there's too much shadiness going on in the inside, and so it's gonna implode, you know. And so, but yeah, man, like hypocrisy. I just tell everybody, a lot of people get in a leadership chair, and they think it's about them. They don't understand it's about everybody else.
Right. And with that, I love that. With that, I think we hit the halftime point here. Everybody out there, we are halfway through. This is gonna be a long one today, so. We're going to take a 5-minute break, everyone. Again, a 5-minute break. I've got 3:04 on my watch. We'll be back at 3:09 and kick it back. Does that sound good, Jake?
We get a break? I'm like, oh, my God. Like,
we're going to take a 5-minute break. And
I'm going to get me some more Tasty Gain gummies, bro. I'm on fire, bro.
I love
this
it.
Is a banger. This is a banger,
Hell
man.
Yeah, man.
This is a banger, bro.